So, good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Good day, depending on where you're watching from. This is Mirror African Diaspora TV, MAD. Welcome to the program Think Tank, where we discuss African issues, exclusively African culture, African issues concerning Africans and African in diaspora. My name is Robinson Afamefuna Ambrose. I'm here for you today to discuss about the continued detention of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu by the Nigerian government. For today's program, we are going to have an Israeli human rights activist and blogger, Shashi Ishai, and the IPOB coordinator, Israeli IPOB coordinator, Mazi, Austine. For today's discussion, we are going to focus exclusively on the issue of the way Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has been treated so far by the Nigerian government and the Israeli discussion, Israeli opinion to that, Israeli government, what have they done so far? What's their reaction? We are aware that after the Nigerian government tried to, assassinate Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, then when a group of military men were sent to his place, and then his house, in his house, a lot of men were killed, and then he narrowly escaped the death, but however managed to escape. He then found himself in Israel. He took refuge there, and it seems he has established very good tie with the people of Israel. And as a matter of fact, he is also a Jewish, not only by the fact that Igbo people trace their origin back to Israel, but also because he's practicing Judaism. So in this context, it is believed that the Jews also actually go out for those, try to help those who are, they are not just their member as a Jew, but also there is part of their life to help people that are in need. It's part of their culture, it's part of their doctrine. And when it becomes the issue of someone who is also practicing Judaism, who is actually a member of their family in religion, if you will, then it seems to be their responsibility, or we can assume that it's their responsibility, at least moral responsibility, to seek for this person, to ask for this person. These are the questions we're going to ask today when we have our participants, our contributors, Shashi Ishai and Mazi Austine. So we are expecting them any moment from now, and then we are going to start the discussion as I've just explained. So the issue is always it's all about freedom. We are making this broadcast today also because there was a demonstration by the IPOB family in Israel. They were there in the capital, Jerusalem. They demonstrated, and then we have our correspondent. You're welcome. Shashi Ishai, you are welcome to our program, Think Tank, and we are going to have this discussion with you today. So, like I've said, it's going to be an interview, an exclusive interview with Israeli human rights activist and blogger Shashi Ishai, and also the Israeli IPOB coordinator Austine Ibezim is going to be part of this discussion today. So I think Shashi is already there. I think he's trying to get connected, and we hope she got connected soon. Hello, can you hear me? All right. So, like I've just said, there was this demonstration today in the Israel capital, Jerusalem, and the demonstration organized by the IPOB family in Israel. We are going to show you a clip of this demonstration if you haven't seen it, but I believe my assumption or my belief is that most of you must have seen this demonstration today. And we are going to discuss the issue concerning the demonstration. Why are they demonstrating? Of course, everybody knows it's because they are demanding for the unconditional release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the IPOB, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who has been held in the Nigerian prison for almost 5 months now. And the IPOB members all over the world have been demonstrating ever since then. And this demonstration has continued. We would like to know what is the Israeli position on it. I mean, the continued detention of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu by the Nigerian government. We would like to know what is the Israeli position on this very issue. So you can unmute yourself. You can unmute yourself, Shashi, so that we can hear you. Can you hear me right now? Yes. Hello, Mazi Austine, you are welcome to the program Think Tank. Unmute yourself, please, Mazi, so that we can communicate. So I think, gentlemen, we have to exercise a little bit patience. We are working on it that we get you all the pictures you need for this discussion today. And Mazi Austine, can you hear me right now? Welcome to the show, Think Tank. Welcome to the program, Think Tank.
Thank you. I can hear you.
All right. So we are waiting for your colleague, Shashi Ishai. So any moment from now, we are going to get started.
Great.
All right. Wonderful. Good evening.
Good evening, my brother.
Yeah. I'm saying good evening to your colleague.
Okay.
Yes, I think she is trying to fix the mic. So
okay,
the audio, so that she can say something and I can hear her and you can hear her. So I think she's trying to fix that. Nevertheless,
it was on unmute. I'm sorry, do you hear me now?
Exactly, I can hear you.
Woo!
Unbelievable. So you're highly welcome. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's get started. This is Mirror African Diaspora TV, MAD. We are based in Germany. We are the leading media in the representation of African culture and the politics. We are live on Facebook on this day, December 27, 2021. It is exactly 9 minutes after 7 if you are here in Germany, and I believe that the same thing in Biafra land. I am your host, Robinson Afamefuna Ambrose. Welcome to the show Think Tank, where we discuss political and cultural issues about Africa and Africans in diaspora. In today's program, we are going to talk about the continued detention of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the IPOB, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, by the Nigerian government and the Israeli position on it. Our guests are the Israeli human rights activist and blogger Shashi Ishai and Mazi Austine Ibezim, the national coordinator of the IPOB in Israel. So, I would say, Shashi, welcome to the show Think Tank once again. Oh, I think we missed her. Well, and Mazi Austine Ibezim, well, you are highly welcome to the show Think Tank.
Thank you.
All right. So could you briefly tell me this demonstration today, how was it?
The demonstration we went was so successful.
Yes.
We met with one of the members who was sent to us from the Knesset, who received our message, as well as the deputy mayor of Jerusalem that came and spoke with us and promised to give a helping hand as reaching the United Nations. I mean, like writing to them to let them know of our plight.
Yes.
So the demonstration we went on was very, very successful.
Beautiful. And let's see if we can play a bit of it.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, just a minute. Okay.
All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to some of you, depending your locations. My names are Comrade Jimmy Ugu, reporting live and direct this morning, to being the 27th December 2021 from State of Israel. This morning, we are here live and direct in Jerusalem, the Knesset, to be precise, the seat of power in Israel. We are here this morning to make a demand for an immediate release and unconditional release of our leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who was extraordinary rendition back from Kenya on the 19th of July 2021. Our leader has not committed any crime against any human being. He only asked for a freedom for his people. Our leader is a prisoner of conscience. Ever since he has been renditioned back to Nigeria, there has not been a trial from Nigerian government. He has been in detention under their custody. He has been brutalized. He has been dehumanized. All manner of things has been done to him. What is his offense? He only asks for the freedom of his people. We are here to put the word on notice and also to ask to plead with our brother, our cousins, the Israelites, to intervene on this issue and as well look into the killing of our people back home in Nigeria by the Nigerian apparatus, by the Nigerian military joint force, that the killing in our land is getting out of hand. After the civil war in 1967 to 1971 till date, Biafran has been killed. The blood of Biafran has been spilled over the Biafra land. We are here to say that the world should intervene because it is.
All right. So we have been introduced to the actual demonstration in Israel today. For those of us who were not able to watch this program as it was live, it was streamed live in many platforms today. And I think a lot of you may have seen it. For those of you who have not seen it, this is a clip we have for you today. I'm sorry, we cannot show more than this because of time factors and for ease of production. So the issue right now is that we are yet to have Shashi. I think she's grappling with her sister.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so never mind the face.
We cannot get your picture. So
I know, something's wrong.
all right. Okay.
As long as you could hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. Unfortunately, we are not seeing your face, but however, let's go on. So, well, the question is this. I'm beginning with you, Shashi.
Okay.
Yes, it's no longer news that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was abducted and tortured in Kenya and brought to Nigeria by the Nigerian government in an act of extraordinary rendition on July 19th of July 2021.
Yes.
I would like to know, what is Israel's opinion on the abduction of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and also the ongoing killings of Biafran youth by the Nigerian security apparatus?
Okay. First of all, I was really surprised. This young man named Itzik came from Knesset, and he was looking at the posters, and everybody was talking about their personal experience of not being able to go home and what has been happening there. And he said, and he was so sincere, he was visibly shaken, and he said, up until this moment, I had no idea of what was happening. And that's it in a nutshell. You ask any Israeli, first of all, they're going to ask you, well, where's Biafra? Unfortunately. And here's a Knesset member who is supposed to have a good hand on political accounts in the world, and he never heard it before. This was an eye-opener for me. And from that moment, I realized what I've suspected is that the number one agenda for our people, and I'm including Israel, world Jewry, and Biafra, is to educate, to get the word out. Now, if I might add, how do you get something so mind-blowing out to the common man? And I was speaking to you before. I had an epiphany, a revelation, that at the same time in the late 60s, when the first Civil War, I won't even say a civil war, it was an attack, a genocide, the first genocide of our people in Biafra, where over 2/3 of the population died, mostly children, and they died because there was a blockade at the only port to receive medical aid, food, and such. And I remember I must have been 12 or 13. I remember seeing the pictures. There was some kind of telethon, and then it dropped. And at the same time, there was one young man, bless his soul. He was from Columbia University. He was so frustrated that nobody would help him. Nobody would hear his call. The same frustration that Rachel feels, that I feel. He lit himself on fire in front of the United Nations.
Yeah.
And let's not let his memory. Now, we do have media. We have more than one way to get allies. And at the same time that this horrible genocide was occurring in America in the late 60s, the folk protest music changed the mindset of American minds forever. Icons like Phil Oakes, Peter, Paul, and Mary, Joan Baez, Judy Collins, these people made America stop and think. What are we in Vietnam War for? Okay? And it made me think, okay, it may be far-fetched, it may be grassroots, but there are folk clubs. I know of one because I belong to it in Netanya. There are two in Tel Aviv. And I was speaking with Rachel. We're going to meet next week. We're going to take pamphlets. We're going to ask the MC of all the folk clubs to say this session is dedicated to the noble warriors of Biafra who are fighting for their lives and to free their leader, and mention the name. And there'll be pamphlets there. Now, we do this with a few clubs. I'm going to do research and find out all the clubs in.
Oh, it's like we lost her. I think she's going to be back.
In America, all the folk clubs.
Okay, she's back. Wonderful. This is a wonderful agenda. You know, what you're saying now is that in order to stop the mayhem perpetrated against the Biafrans and the continued detention of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, that there must be more continuous exposure of what is going on there in Nigeria, not merely by Biafrans, but also by other international communities, other countries such as Israel. They have to get involved in this exposure. I mean, you talk about folks, music, folks club that you're going to talk to. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. This is a wonderful move. It's a wonderful idea because we are actually here not just to talk, but also to seek for solution. And this is, you've just brought one on the table. That means the involvement of this folk music will actually bring about a kind of international response or international concern, which is very, very important for the understanding of what is going on there in Biafra land and the continued and unabated killing of the Biafran and innocent tribes or innocent ethnicity there in Nigeria. So I would say, based on your assertion, you do find similarity between the Biafran, okay, we don't call it Biafran war, but the killing of Biafran in 1967 to 1970, as you've just mentioned. You find similarity between those incidents and what is going on currently, right?
Right. It's what happened in the late 60s. It never stopped. It's one continuous Holocaust. And
right.
It frustrates me to tears why nobody knows about it. Why is it such a closed issue, especially in Israel? I could give you a list of contacts that I have tried to break through, and some have been quite hostile, as a matter of fact. There is one journalist from Jerusalem Post, who said, please don't send me any more material about Biafra and Mazi and Kanu. He is not Jewish. What? This is a religious woman? Well, I'll tell you, when I get up and do my prayers, it's, I hereby fulfill the mitzvah, love thy fellow man as thyself. It has no blood test, no DNA. Somebody is in trouble. Somebody who shares the same 12-tribe history, biblical history as we do. We should be the first, the mirror of consciousness, to reach out and help. We Jews help people with other causes. We're known for it. Why not our own?
Okay. The issue is there is a kind of less, I wouldn't say less interest, but kind of not motivated. The Israelis are not all that motivated to get involved in the issue of Biafra and Nigeria. This seems this is perhaps as a result of diplomatic ties which they have with Nigeria, and they wouldn't like to offend this country. But the issue is that, like you just said, most Igbo not only trace their origin to Israel to indicate their Jewish origin, but also have proclaimed their alliance with the state of Israel, most Igbo. On the other hand, there seems to be this diplomatic relationship between Nigeria and Israel. I would say, don't you think that Israel is actually in a better position to mediate between Biafra and Nigeria and find a better solution? Don't you think that they should have been in a better position to do that?
I believe you're absolutely on the mark. If you look at the Biden administration, the people that he has made heads of secret intelligence, I don't even know if he gets half the information that's going on around the world, because they're all Palestinian or they're all anti-Semitic. They have histories. 3 that come to mind. So can he act when he doesn't even know what's going on? They're editing the information that he gets.
Yes.
So forget that. I have made a list since today of what I'm going to do.
Okay. So they lack this information. They should know that there is killing, and that the Biafrans are being killed again, that like it was in 1969 to 1967 to 1970 or 71, if you will. The populace should be informed about this ongoing killing. So you are saying that the populace, the Israeli populace, are actually not aware of what is going on in Nigeria. So more should be done. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
All right.
Yep.
That brings me now to your colleague, Mazi Ibezim. What do you think about this statement? This is perhaps the third demonstration in Israel. Correct me if I'm wrong. Since the abduction of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, is there any plan on the ground currently to do more on this issue of demonstration, this issue of awareness, as to make people understand what is going on in Nigeria? This means, when I say is there, are there plans to do more? My question is actually, are there plans to get the citizens involved and not just the Biafrans moving around doing their demonstration, but to get the citizens involved, directly involved.
All right.
Thank you.
It's a bit of a difficult
No, the
answer.
question is for Austine. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
You will
Thank
you
you
will have
very
your take. You will have your take on it as well. But let me
Thank
hear from
you
you.
thank you very much. You see, we've done series of protests all around the state of Israel. We've gone to the Nigerian embassy severally. We carried our protest to where the state of Israel conducted their Olympic when they hosted the Olympic Games. It's called Kika Medina. There's no nook and cranny of this state that have not gone to protest. But today, what we did is a giant stride. You know, we have that, like I told our people in the protest ground, I mean at the protest ground, that we have an adage that says, if the head stops its movement, if the head does not shake, that the bird might perch on it. It's always us and us that we tell our stories. Today, we successfully met with the cream of the society, the who and who's in the state of Israel. It is today that we sensitize them. It is today that we let them know actually this the Biafran plight. This is what we've been suffering. Now that we've gone to the Knesset, the Israeli State Parliament, and alerted them, the next line of action now, we need to get hold of 2, 3, 4, or 5 Knesset members. After which we will now implore our DOS to come visiting. They'll come. We need to bring them along to come and sit one-on-one to them. I mean, with them to discuss.
Okay.
We have protested enough, and all along, it's like our protests are not hitting it. But as well, Okikabe has done it this day, and we went to their, we went to them, and we got in contact with some of the parliament members. It's our duty to fix a very solid arrangement with them, which will now bring our DOS members to come to Israel to meet with them. Are you with me?
Yes, that sounds good. So what you are saying, let me interrupt you a bit, sorry. What you are saying is that you met with PM, right? MP, member of the parliament, right?
Sure.
That is interesting. And you handed a letter to them indicating your interest, and they received it, right?
Definitely.
Okay. And that you are going to continue this measure, which of course is greater than just coming out in group and singing, but this is a kind of direct strike. You targeted something and you hit your target. That is giving this letter, establishing a kind of official claim or complaint, if you will, about what is going on, and not just saying it and they're looking at you. That sounds good. So let me ask Shashi. Shashi, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. This sounds interesting. What's your take?
Oh, it was a monumental victory.
Okay.
And I just want to add, I have never seen a man or woman as dedicated as Rachel to bring this all together. She kept calling the deputy mayor of Jerusalem constantly, just reminding her constantly. She was up all night. And I do believe that it was due to her dedication that Fleur is now an ally, a real bona fide ally. And as I said before, and Austine can back me up, that this man who came out from the Knesset, it just clarified it crystal clear that We have to get people to understand there is a problem and what to do about it.
Very good. I thank you for this explanation, Mazi Austine. I thank you very well for the explanation. Not just because the action is interesting, but also because I do know that some other coordinators in the other world or other countries perhaps are paying attention. Are you going to then relate this measure to them? Are you going to inform them of how you work today so that they can emulate this step in as much as it is effective or it can be said to be effective? Are you going to inform them, or what are you going to do?
Definitely. You know, the meeting of the coordinators of the 9 countries in the Middle East, we have a forum and we used to meet. So I always tell them, actually, this was what I went, and I will also want them to apply such. I also want them to take such a move in sensitizing the various countries and again letting the government of those countries intervene in our issue. So I'll do just that. I'll do just that.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. So let's go on. I want to ask you, Shashi.
Mm-hmm.
We have established the fact that that Igbo trace their origin back to Israel, and I would like to ask you, but why is Israel so sensitive to the Igbo who claim to be Jewish? It's like, although most Israeli, I mean, welcome the Igbo and accept them as their Jewish brother, and some of them, I hear some of them say that they are the lost tribe of Jewish, but it seems that most people are not all that, I mean, open to accept the Igbos as Jewish. Do you possibly know the reason why?
Well, it's funny that you should say that. First of all, let's just look at the Ethiopians for a moment. How many years did it take for Israel to recognize Ethiopians as Jews? They sent the rabbinate there to observe their customs. Well, we have the same customs: circumcision, certain things of the Shabbat. The New Year starts on Rosh Hashanah, September. We have the same customs that the rabbinate saw in Ethiopia, yet they claim that they were kosher, so to speak. And I wonder, what is it? It seems to be a cynicism that without DNA, and there's been no massive DNA tests taken, why are they so suspicious? They feel like they're going to come and overpower the population of Israel. Biafrans do not want to make their home in Israel. They want to go back to Biafra, and they want to visit the holy places where their ancestors were. So I have no idea why they just turn up their noses. And I would like to ask the Ethiopian community, who has suffered but has been blessed with refuge here, that they should be our allies in this also. They should be protesting with us, don't you think?
Yeah, sure. That makes sense. That makes sense. You said in your article last, I think that was a few months ago, you asked a long-time friend if he would join in fighting for Biafran's independence, but he declined.
Right.
Why did he decline? I think you mentioned it earlier on, but could you just say it again? Because it seems to me that the refusal not to fight for Biafra may also have a kind of relationship with the idea that the Igbos are perhaps not Jews in their eyes.
Right. By the way, this article severed our friendship forever, but this person got his information from somebody who may have been just Nigerian, maybe
All right.
Muslim. I don't know where he got his source from, but he definitely did not care to ask me questions. He just asked his friend and made a point blanket statement. And of course, the anti-Biafrans call our people agitators, troublemakers. Correct?
Yeah.
So this is what my friend thought. He just took, did not go the extra step and asked me, why am I involved? What's going on that you are involved? This person should have known me better. But whatever people either read or hear, it becomes gospel. It becomes the Bible for them, and they refuse to budge. One person said, you know, if it were the Ethiopians to protest for, I would. But the Biafrans are such a small minority, maybe 2,000 Jews, it's not worth it. Well, all I could say is if you save one life, you save a world. And to say that was so flippant and offensive to me. It's like, so what if it's 2,000 lives or how many lives? If it's one life, I hereby fulfill the mitzvah to help my fellow man as myself. How could you put a statistic to dissuade you from helping? That's ridiculous.
Well, I think this person is was misinformed because 15th centuries in the 15th century was that there were already Jews in this place called Nigeria, and those were Igbos essentially, people practicing Judaism. Sorry, and those were there is a record that as far back as 15th century, then before the coming of the Portuguese in the area called Boni or Bight of Biafra today, there were people that were practicing Judaism, and these were Igbos essentially. So there is a long history about the relationship between the Israeli and the Igbo. I think this is going to be a program on its own that we are going to discuss exclusively. However, let me ask you, Mazi, Austine. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu stayed in Jerusalem, in Israel, right?
Sure.
And I believe that he has made friends there, and they saw him wearing this Jewish scarf, or what do they call it? There is, what's the name for it again? The special name for this Jewish prayer cloth that they put on their shoulder. Nnamdi Kanu has that, and he observes this Shabbat just like every other Jew.
Yes.
Is that not enough for him to be accepted as a Jew and for the Israeli government to fight for him as one of them that has been kidnapped?
Austine, do you want me to answer this?
Oh,
I'd love to.
I want to ask Austine his opinion about that.
Okay.
Then you can add yours. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
You see, when the director came here, he went to one of the Israeli renowned TV station, and broadcasted. That video is still here, and I believe most of the Israeli citizens, they have that video where he broadcasted and told them about Biafra and our Jewishness. And after that broadcast, he went to about 3 radio stations here. He even went to the Israeli University where he lectured. He lectured the students there on the issue of Biafra. So the issue of Biafra in the state of Israel is not a hidden story, because even Netanyahu, Prime Minister Netanyahu, in the last speech he gave on the way the Germans killed the Israelites, he mentioned that was the only world leader that I've ever had mentioned Biafra. Are you with me?
Yes, I'm listening, sir.
So it's out of sensitization or out of the awareness that our leader created here.
Okay.
I believe that was actually what prompted, or what Netanyahu must have seen to mention Biafra in his speech when he was talking about the way that Germans killed the the Israelis.
Yes.
So our story here is not hidden. Even recently, one of the high rabbis, one of the very high rabbis in the state of Israel, he declared that he had discovered that the Igbos are the lost tribe of Israel.
Do you know his name?
I saw that and I will send you the video. I have the video here. I'll send it to you later.
Okay, that will be
Not that
fine.
they don't know, not that the state of Israel, I don't know that most of the Biafrans are Jews, but they are afraid. They thought that if they should take us in, that our 70 million people will be trooping here. But the truth of the matter is that no, we are not here. We don't want to come and reside here. We want them to give us a helping hand to help us gain our state, to let us free our land. We all go home.
Okay. The Fulani in Nigeria, they have, they control the military. They control virtually every place, every institution, both executive and judicial. Everything is in their hand. And the Biafrans used to have factories, like a whole lot of them, like Bata shoes and all those factories. None of them exist currently. So I think this is a crush history. It was 1980s that this exodus reached the height of it, where the Biafrans started moving out. I mean, I'm not talking about the movement that happened immediately after the war, but the movement that took place that brought people like you and people like me too. It doesn't matter what you have come to Europe to do. Wherever you are, it's always a push factor, something make you move. And
Sure.
that's an indication that it's not good for you. Otherwise, you wouldn't have left or you wouldn't have moved. So what I'm trying to say is that we have Biafrans, 108 countries across the globe. Biafran are represented in almost these 108 countries. Now, Israel is just part of them, or one of them, sorry. I would like to know from you, Shashi, what is the state of asylum? Should I call it asylum? How do you describe it there in Israel? What is the state of asylum in Israel for Biafrans? Shashi. like we missed her. Okay.
Is she there?
I think she has problem with the audio. She's definitely there. All right. Okay, you can actually, the question, you can as well answer this question. How is it, what is it like for those of the Biafran that are asylum? Can they get asylum with the Biafran, I mean, as an excuse that they are politically, you know, persecuted in Nigeria? If you say you're a Biafran, are they going to give you stay in Israel? Is it one of the reasons?
No.
No?
I've never seen whom they gave.
Okay.
As far as I knew, the only criteria for having the paper says either you marry their daughters, or for some of our brothers that have children that have grown up to 10, 12 years.
Okay.
They gave them once and it's been a long time and they stopped. So that's only way one can get a visa here, a kind of residence permit.
Residence permit.
It's either you marry their daughter or you and your wife have kids that's grown up to 12 years. And that was the last time they gave and they stopped. So the immigration policy has never been too friendly. Because there are people that have stayed here for more than 15, 18 years. They've not gotten a status. So I don't know actually how many years that they want to stay before the person will be free. Knowing pretty well that person, something must have been pushing the person from one's home country. So that's how it is, my brother.
So the circumstance of staying there can also be more frustrating, actually. Is that what you're saying? It's a tough one.
Yeah. And you also know that there's something, home is always home.
Yeah. So
go you south, west, north or east, home will always remain home, my brother. Because at home you have your green paper, you have your red paper, you have blue, white, whatever paper you have. So no place can be easy than your hometown. That's why we are striving to see if they can help us push for this referendum for us to go back home. We have suffered enough. For myself to be here for the past 12 years, I've not seen my kids. It's a sad story.
That's sad. Very sad. Sad indeed. Very sad. So
solid years. I've not seen my people. I've not seen my children.
Well, you know, a lot of people don't understand that when Biafrans are calling for referendum and for freedom, it's not essentially because of the economic motivation, as some people think it is, but it is because of the possibility for them to have a place they can call their own home. Because it appears that in the whole West Africa, Biafrans are the most, the most populated folk that don't live in their own very geographical region. Biafran is the highest immigrant among the West African countries. There is, however, no statistics. It's just a kind of imaginary stuff. So if you compare Biafrans that are in Europe with any other ethnicity, perhaps if you compare them with the Fulani or the Hausa, then you will be you will agree with me that Biafrans are more in that you find more Biafrans in Europe and every other place than other ethnicity in Nigeria or even West Africa. So the question I wanted to ask is this, Shashi, you are back.
I'm back.
All right. The special anti-robbery squad, or do you want to comment on the issue of Biafrans? I think I would like you to say something because it is an important issue. We have Biafrans in Israel who actually don't want to stay in Israel. They want to go home.
I know.
All right.
Yeah.
And the best thing the Israeli government could have done to them is to work with the Nigerian government or work with the international community to see that there is a referendum in Biafra land. Why are they not doing that if they don't want to see these guys move around their city?
I'm sorry, I was going to comment on seeking refuge.
Yes, that is part of the question.
Okay.
Yes.
Very ironic in that maybe a year ago, there was a woman who was the wife of the ex-ambassador to Israel. She had a shelter for women from Sudan, from Eritrea, I believe Chad. These people were not Jewish, but
yes.
yet she ran a refuge for them. They made like housewares, baskets, weaving stuff, and they got a lot of publicity, and people came and bought their wares. I kept bugging her. I kept saying to her, it's lovely what you're doing as a humanitarian, but what about our people? What about our Biafran refugees who are in Tel Aviv who are not legal? They're being deported. One died because he was so sick that he was afraid to go to a hospital because he would be deported, and he died.
Deported to Nigeria.
Excuse me?
Deported.
Yes, deported to Nigeria and killed. How many people today said that? If they step into Nigeria, they're dead men. So what I'm going to do now, these people have gone back to their homes because it's safe for them. I'm going to call her. She's on my list of people to call.
All right.
What are you doing with that space now? And I want to ask her to make it as a refuge for people who cannot go back home, that are Jews. I have I must say, when I was a teacher in a university many years ago in America, I would, to make a long story short, I became a political activist for the Southern Sudanese.
Yes, I'm aware of that. I wanted to talk about that later on.
Oh, all right.
Yes.
He's on my list also, Charles Jacobs. I contacted him months ago, and he has a link to Jay Sekulow and Mike Pompeo, who are advocating for the Christians that are being persecuted in Nigeria. He asked me, what can I do? I'm older now. Well, I'm going to tell him what to do. You know, get on the hunker, give me your contacts, and start badgering them to not only Christians, but when they talk in the UN, you talk about the Jews too. There's no difference. So I have my list, my agenda of people to call.
Yeah, we are going to call a lot of people.
And may I add one more thing? When I was saying spread the word.
Yes.
Who should we spread the word to? We should go into Israeli universities. That is our target.
Exactly.
The young of Israel, the future leaders. That's who we must go and show our posters and tell these young people, this is who you have to advocate for. These are our brothers and sisters. You put pressure en masse. Could you imagine a whole university putting pressure on the government to do something, to to bring our leader home? Wouldn't that be awesome?
Of course. You know, do you know that the struggle of the struggle by the South African to free themselves from apartheid wouldn't have been successful if the struggle was not brought to the university in Europe. It was during this time when the university started, when the discussion got to the university level, where it became a discussion, then it goes to the streets. The university, if you will, is essentially a place they manufacture ideology in the Western countries. So if you really want to fight an ideology, then you have to go to the university as well. So I agree with your idea of taking this to the University of the Tel Aviv or wheresoever, because if professors start talking about this at the university, it's only then that you can see the Israeli come out and start demonstrating for Biafrans and join the chorus. And then the demonstration and the actions taken by Biafrans will be more efficacious, if you will. So I do thank you for that. Do you still want to say something about the asylum, or should I ask you, should I go on with my question? Because we are almost getting to the end of the discussion. I had your question. I read your article again. I like statements you make there. You talk about this SARS in Nigeria. The Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS, was actually a unit of the Nigerian police force that that was established in the late 1992 to combat crimes such as robbery, motor vehicle theft, kidnapping, etc. This unit was disbanded on October 11, 2020, after worldwide protest under the slogan End SARS. But in your recent article, Shashi, you said that SARS is just a new name for an old face Fulani terrorist. Why this description?
I'm sorry, the sound wasn't good. Can you just speak a little louder? Maybe I could understand what you just said.
Okay, I said that the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS, was a unit of the Nigerian police force that was established in the late 1992. They were established to combat robbery and motor vehicle theft and kidnapping. Do you get that? That is
yes.
Yes, that's the reason why they were established. And then I also said that this unit was disbanded or abandoned on October 11th, 2020, after worldwide protests under the slogan End SARS. But in your recent article, Shashi, you said that SARS is just a new name for an old face Fulani terrorists. That's what you wrote, that's what you said in your article, right? Am I correct?
Right.
So I want to know why this description. Why did you make this description about SARS? Something happened. You see something in SARS. I would like you to tell our viewers by yourself. I think you were going to the line of killings and abduction of the Biafrans, all those things.
Oh, absolutely. You mentioned the Fulani before.
Yeah.
The latest out of what I have read is the word cannibalism.
Okay.
Okay. If you tell anybody that there is a group in a country that is ravaging the countryside and cannibalizing its victims, can anybody claim an argument that they're for it? Of course not.
No.
It's a blanket, oh my God. Now, with the word cannibalism into play, there has to be more, again, public knowledge of what's going on. These are bloody subhumans. And why is Boko Haram still there? And it's a cycle of kidnapping small innocent children, killing everything around them, their parents, everything they love. And now it's a survival of the fittest. To let Boko Haram go is like a cancer. It has to be stopped. How do we stop that? In Afghanistan, we thought that the Taliban were through, but obviously we were wrong when America sent troops in there. But how do we stop? Who is causing this? You know, take away the henchmen of Buhari, take away all his puppets, and what does he have left? ISIS is in Biafra now too. I have documented evidence by an American SEAL. That's why I said it's old news. And you could, you know, as they say, a rose is a rose is a rose by any other name would smell as sweet.
Oh, yeah. Okay. You seems to two similarities between the Nazi extermination of the Jews and other minorities in Germany and the so-called civil war between Nigeria and Biafra. What are these similarities, if I would ask?
Well, it's just so obvious. There, it wasn't a war between the Nazis and the Jews. There was the victors over. It was not as it wasn't Jews were armed and they were attacking the Nazis. It wasn't a civil war. It was a blatant genocide of one party against another. And nobody, including America and FDR, who turned out to be a real villain, cared. And the same with now. It's an obvious genocide, although we now have a special attribute of cannibalism, okay? It is an obvious Holocaust, a genocide. So Buhari is a sub-Nazi because he's subhuman.
But do you have any hope of Buhari being brought to the ICC?
Did you mention the ICC?
Yes.
Well, there's a laugh. There's a laugh.
Yeah.
The ex-ICC headmistress there was too busy painting her nails and making her lips even bigger.
Yeah.
And she could give a damn about any country that's non-Muslim. With Israel tried so many times to lodge protests, and they were never granted any kind of audience, any kind of investigation by her. ICC is ridiculous. It's another puppet. I think the United Nations, I've always felt this, should be raised to the ground, and a municipal free parking lot should be erected in its place.
Okay, but do you see the hope of Biafran surviving this circumstance?
Absolutely.
Or would you say the hope is bleak? Because now Nnamdi Kanu is not on the stage. He is essentially his moves were bringing a kind of fruits, required or desired effects. And if you look at the whole thing, you would say he wasn't just fighting against the Fulani, but also he was going against the doctrine of the colonial master, which is the Britain.
Right, the
who-
British.
Yeah, who wants to keep the Biafrans on the subjugation, internal subjugation, through the use of the Fulani.
Yes.
On the one hand, but Nnamdi Kanu seems to be destroying this through sensitization of his people, through his broadcast. He had made them become aware that they can actually do something. I think this is perhaps one reason why he has to be kidnapped, because he continued to bring out ideas that will change the mentality. And you know, it is about ideology. Ideology is the essence of man. Man has no meaning apart from his ideology. Is it ideology that began to change, then that brought a kind of fear in the minds of the leaders, in the minds of the power that be? So do you see them leaving this person who they know is going to take their bread out of their mouth?
Well, of course, he's a humongous threat to the Nigerian government. You could take the man away, but his influence on the Igbo mind, where they finally see the light, they see where their roots are, they see the destruction of colonization and so forth. He has ignited the fire, and that cannot be put out. And we have one thing, let's just look. Today, Israel has great relations with Germany. Isn't that ironic? America has great relations with Japan. Yesterday's enemies are today's bedmates. So there is no doubt in my mind, and let's not forget who controls everything but Hashem, Elohim. He is the master, and he will redeem us and put Mazi Kanu in his rightful place, the apple of his eye, and he will change Biafra into a place where Jews, Christians, and any other religious ideology can pray in peace without fear. Amen.
Amen. So that brings us to Mazi Austine. I think you might be sharing the same opinion that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, his release and freedom is essentially in the hand of God. Do you think that the same way, Austine? Or do you think it is?
Everything we do, everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, they all come from God. So, you know, when you are counting the capacity or strength of these Fulanis, that they have the military, they have the Air Force, they have the Navy, they have this, they have that. But there's one thing that we have that they don't have.
What?
We have all these forces, but we have our Chukwokikabiama, which is everything. So that is actually why, after they killed us, after the genocide that was committed against our people, we are giving 20 pounds, no matter how much you have in the bank. We are the survivor of that genocide that happened. We are the survivor. Right. After they kill, no matter the amount of money, no matter the billion you have in the bank, you'll be given 20 pounds. It is that same 20 pounds that made us who we are today. All the professors, all the doctors, all the physicians, all the engineers you have in Biafra land, they came out of that 20 pounds. So when you are counting on what they have, that they are gone and the machine gun and all whatnot, our Chukwokikabiama is above all those things. So our heart is very strong that in the very short while, our leader Nnamdi Kanu will be out for good. He'll be out. And that referendum must be conducted. Whether they like it, they don't like it, they're only delaying it. Not that it will not happen. They're only trying to stretch it up to delay it. But the delay it will be to their detriment because we are not stopping. Are you listening?
I'm listening. So I'm listening.
It is Biafra, Biafra, Biafra. Freedom, freedom, freedom. Nothing will make us stop. We are not stopping. So the best thing for them is to release our leader. Because even as they held him to this given time, the worst is happening. The worst is what's happening. They need to free that messenger of God. Because of the impending doom holding him that is holding him will cost them.
Did you hear recent news about Father Mbaka's broadcast? Father Mbaka.
I've not listened to that. I've not heard that.
Okay. Shashi.
Yes.
Father Mbaka is a reverend father from Enugu. He is a very popular, a charismatic priest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think he's one of the most popular reverend father in Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So he is sometimes political, but he is a sound mind. If you what you can call sound mind, he is a sound mind. And just brief history, when he was being attacked by the Nigerian government, Nnamdi Kanu came out and stood behind him seriously, you know.
Yeah.
So, and I think I wouldn't say that he has changed his path. What I'm going to say is that he has been advocating for the release of Nnamdi Kanu ever since he has been abducted. And recently he made a statement saying that something very, very bad is going to happen to Nigeria if they don't release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And he has been giving prophecies that perhaps Buhari is going to be the president, and essentially Buhari has become the president, or that Uzodimma is going to be the governor. So let's see what is going to happen. But what I'm trying to say, I'm just trying to find the bridge or relationship between this spiritual aspect of the whole issue, because we are human beings. We work on different epistemes, not just on one way of explanation, but on the spiritual as well as the physical. So we should be able to, approach our difficulties based on these two different episteme, if you will. So I wanted to ask you about your support for the Sudanese. I mean, you are not just an expert in the Biafran struggle, but also in that of the Sudanese, right?
Right. Wherever, I don't discriminate between Jew, Gentile, Muslim, Hindu, whatever, but it's in my DNA. My grandfather was the same way. We hear a cry, we are there, no matter what. Because again, my first morning prayer is, I hereby fulfill the mitzvah, love thy fellow man as thyself. It has no other explanation. Just look at your neighbor. If he needs help, you help him. And that's how I look globally. May I add one thing that happened today, that somebody in the protest, a Biafran gentleman, said to the Knesset young man, Itzik, he said, you know, Israel has to wake up. Who is an ally in Africa to Israel? If Biafra becomes a Jewish state, it'll be like a beacon of light for Israel. They will have a stable ally. And it makes sense. It's an investment. That's
a reliable one, if you will.
It's an investment, and we should, where Let's look at the flag and see the Jewish star and know we are connected, and it is an investment to help Biafra.
Amen.
All right. That brings us almost to the end of this discussion. I have the last question for you, Shashi. And I wanted to ask you, despite the horrific images of killing of Biafrans and other innocent tribes in Nigeria by the Fulani, the hope that President Trump would declare Biafra a free autonomous nation never became a reality. As someone who knows the American government, do you perhaps have an explanation for this?
I am as flabbergasted and disappointed. I was a huge Trump supporter. And when he first met, I believe it was Buhari, he said, quote, he looked into his cold, lifeless eyes and he said, why are you killing Christian children? Buhari didn't answer him. Trump turned his back on him and said to his aide, I never want to see this guy again. He was the hope for Biafra. But it turned out, I don't know why, but he never came through the way he promised. And only the Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, came through in that he is trying to stop the genocide of the Christians in Nigeria. He is dedicated his whole life. He's chief legal counsel. But I have no idea why Trump, he had so much power and he just betrayed us all.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you very much. I think we can end this discussion today also with a spiritual mindset, if you will. I think that is Jeremiah 33. Please forgive me if it's wrong, where it's stated that the Israeli will be brought together even when they are scattered. God said he's going to bring them back together and then give them a permanent home. And we see it coming in the era of Trump, who then established Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. And it's almost how many thousand years when the Roman destroyed the city of Jerusalem, and then people, Israelites, all of them went to exile. And it's just 2021 or 2020, sorry, that it happened. So yes, we have also had Nnamdi Kanu making statements about prophecies that Biafra will be restored. So everything starts with prayer, and I think we will end it this way with the prayer that those good ideas, those hopes that Biafra will be restored, the way Israel has gotten its capital in Israel, which nobody ever thought is going to happen, that one day Biafra will also be restored so that the children of Biafra all over the world will have a home, will go back to where they come from. So, Shashi, do you have the last word to say? Otherwise, to the Biafrans that are listening to you.
Well, we could just look at Jewish history. Every decade, there was some powerful group that was trying to kill and extinguish Jewish life forever. Greeks, Romans, Assyrians, it goes on up until present. But look who's still here. While other ancient civilizations are not.
Yeah.
We have Hashem. Hashem will look out for us. He will protect us. He will redeem us. Amen.
Amen. So, Austine?
Yep. What I'll say to the global IPOB family all around the world, and lovers of freedom is, for them to hold on the flag. Let them know that this word of Ecclesiastes is truth, that everything has its time and season. Are you listening?
Yeah.
Everything has its time and season. In as much as after every night comes morning and day, therefore will come. And on this hope will lie. And I know that our Chukwukikabiyama will do that which will please our mind. He will fight our battle and we hold our peace. If of a truth I say that those that believe in him will be like Mount Zion that can never be moved from their positions, we are holding on God and knowing that one day, therefore, will be here with us. Thank you very much.
So, thank you for coming. Shashi, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Austine, Shashi, that reminds me, you are perhaps going to, if you have time, we would like to talk about another interview with you and Anthony Napoli. She's the editor of the Focus on Africa. She's also an expert in Sudan. You, Anthony Napoli, and myself, we can talk about similarities in the issue of Sudan and Biafra and to know what we can do or what we can, a solution that could come out from that comparison. What do you think?
Wonderful. I'm up for it.
All right.
Okay.
Have a wonderful evening.
God bless.
By the way, Robinson, please, I want you to project the issue of Amazonia because they were with us at the protest ground. They came with us.
Oh.
Our Amazonian brothers.
Okay. So
please, in your next segment, I want you to project their issue.
All right, I will. I promise
Thank
you
you.
that. Thank you very much for that information. Okay. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye-bye. Good night. Bye-bye, Shashi.
Bye. Bye, Austine.
And my greetings to your friend.
Okay.
That's all right.
Yeah.